Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Jam Bets, Week 16 NFL Sunday. So I'm Tyke, joined as always by the magnificent Mama Mia. We're gonna be going over just a couple things today. We're gonna do a quick recap of the Saturday games and the Saturday video that we put out yesterday. Then we're going to be jumping into some players that we like to overperform, some players we like to underperform, and we have one get your popcorn ready matchup that we are both very much looking forward to watching. So, Mama Mia, I will kick it off to you to start off with your recap from yesterday.
Okay, well, you should not have listened to me at all yesterday. My recap starts with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they did not perform very well. I had Fryermuth and Washington. Remember, I said he was the sleeper. Well, Pruitt was the sleeper. He got the touchdown. Fryermuth went 3 for 3, 16 yards, 0 touchdowns. Not gonna win me a championship. So, yeah, that wasn't very good. And then I also thought that Andrews was going to struggle. And Andrews, he had 4 of 6 catches for 37 yards, but he did score a touchdown. He had 1 rush for 1 yard. He had 13.8 fantasy points. He was projected to have 9.3. So he overperformed. So I must have been in a twilight zone there. I had it backwards. Baltimore ended up winning the game 34-17. I had predicted the Steelers to squeak this one out 31-30. I really am drinking the Steelers Kool-Aid, obviously. So I might need a little therapy after this, but hopefully Russ had a bad day. They just didn't, they were doing okay, and then all of a sudden the wheels came off, and they had, when they got that interception, and then he turned it right back over for a pick six. That was, all the air came out. It was just bad. On the next game, I had Nico Collins as my overperformer, and he didn't score a touchdown. He caught a modest 7 out of 10 passes for 60 yards. Nothing spectacular. My underperformer in that game I predicted to be Joe Mixon. He had 14 rushes for 57 yards. He had 1 catch for 14 yards. So I don't think he had a great game. Kansas City did win 27-19. I did expect it to be a closer game, 30-29. It did look like Houston was confused quite a bit. So that's how my recap went on this game. So I was, yeah, I think Mixon was the only one that I got right. So I didn't do very good yesterday. But today is another day. How
Today's
about
another
you,
day.
Tyke?
So
Tyke, what did you do yesterday? Hopefully
today's
much better.
absolutely a new day. But we did preface that both those matchups were tight. We did think that the overperformers were going to be limited. We thought they were going to be tight games. For my picks for Kansas City at Houston, I had picked both of the Kansas City running backs to overperform and switch positions a little bit, of Pacheco being the receiving back and Hunt being the kind of ground and pound guy. Hunt fit into that role very well. Hunt ended with 79 total yards and a touchdown with 2 receptions as well. But Pacheco did not have a good game. They locked Pacheco down. He had nine carries, 1 reception, ended with 25 yards. He actually ended with -1 receiving yards. Um, so I'd say about 50% there. Chiefs obviously did what they needed to do to win that game. Very unfortunate with the Tank Dell injury. I think that kind of
It's
piled
a
on to Houston.
dislocated kneecap, so I think he'll be okay.
Oh, all right, that's not as bad as I thought, so that's good.
Right.
But Houston did look a little confused there. If that was a playoff game, I think Houston fans would be losing their crap right now. So they've got to they've got to get that figured out over there, because they were just delay of games, just kind of lost the game for themselves there, or at least let it get out of hand. And then as for the next game, I had picked Isaiah Likely as my overperformer. He had a very low bar. He was only projected 2 catches and I think 22 yards. He ended with 29 yards and 3 catches and a touchdown. So I think he did overperform. Again, it was a very low bar. And the player that I said to really kind of watch out for was Lamar Jackson. He played fantastic. That I think it was towards the end of the fourth quarter. It was like 3rd and 6, and he just threw a missile to Zay Flowers. And I mean, as soon as that happened, I mean, the game was over at that point. But I think the Steelers really lost themselves that game. Steelers had just scored a touchdown and I think tied the score. And then Boswell kicked the ball out of bounds on the kickoff and gave the Ravens the ball at, I think, like the 45-yard line in the third quarter. And from there on, all the momentum was gone. They did end up, the Steelers ended up getting an interception, but then Russell threw it right back to them on a pick six, and they never looked back. I actually don't think the Steelers scored in the second half. Could be mistaken there, but Ravens ended up doubling their score 34-17. So Steelers, not very typical that they lose themselves a game. However, I think the Ravens won, but I think the Steelers beat themselves there. So on to the next matchups, the next games. We've got a lot of games today. We've got one game tomorrow as well. Mamma Mia, who are you looking for today? You are on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry, my phone was ringing. All right, so I'm excited to see the Minnesota Vikings go into Seattle. Minnesota is a 3-point favorite, which isn't really a lot. I do think that Aaron Jones is going to go off here. He's the leader in the rushing, and I think he's going to they're going to want to eat up the clock and keep Jackson Smith and Ken Walker off and Charbonnet off the field, because I think the Seahawks are going to try to do the same thing and run the ball a lot. And when it comes down to it, the firepower, if Darnold just plays good enough, Jefferson is going to have a good game. But I'm going with Aaron Jones today as my overperformer. He's projected to have 14.5 fantasy points. And the last time these teams met, Minnesota won on September 26th of 2021, 30-17 in Minnesota. But the Seahawks lead the series 13-6. So both of these teams are vying for the playoffs. Minnesota's hot on the trail of the Detroit Lions, who are playing our Chicago Bears today. We won't talk about that one. And Seattle's hot on the trail for the Los Angeles Rams. They're tied right now for the division lead. So that is really a pivotal game that we're gonna like to see what goes on there. I do think Minnesota will win, but yeah, I don't know if they'll cover. It might be like a 21-20 game. I think it'll be really close. So that's what I have for my first game and my overperformers. How about you, Tyke? What do you got going on?
So I've got 2 overperformers, both running backs, both met a lot of the same criteria. So I'm kind of grouping them together on my overperformers. I'm taking James Cook and Chuba Hubbard. I always like saying Chuba though. So they both have a lot of the same stats as to what I really look for running backs. They're both averaging more than 4 yards per carry in man rush attempts and zone rush attempts. And the defenses that they are facing are both allowing 4+ yards in man runs and zone runs. So they're two players that are also getting the ball quite frequently, and they're playing some poor defenses. James Cook is playing the Patriots. The Patriots are the 20 ranked rush defense. They are allowing 113 rush yards per game. and Hubba is facing um, the Cardinals, and the Cardinals are the 28th ranked defense, and they're allowing 104 rushing yards per game. I expect both these guys to get the ball very frequently, and they should have some good running gaps. They also have positive O line grades versus opposing D line grades, which really kind of moves the needle even a little bit further for me. So I'm looking for both of them to overperform today. All right, Mama, I will kick it back to you for your next picks. You're on mute.
Yeah, I started coughing. All right, so my next game that I want to talk about is the Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Commanders. This is a really pivotal game. Philadelphia has a record of 12-2, and Washington is 9-5. The Eagles are favored as the road team by 3.5 points. A.J. Brown and Saquon are going to have a pretty good day, but my underperformer is going to be the Redskins defense. They are ranked 4th against the pass, but 25th against the rush. So I think Saquon, I think he was resting last week so that he can just run his little legs right off and jump over all kinds of players on the Washington team. So that's my pick. And then the last matchup was on November 14th, and Philadelphia beat Washington in Philadelphia 26-18. Funny, the Commanders lead the all-time series 89-86 with 6 ties. So if there's a popcorn, get your popcorn ready game, this is it. Washington is got a 9-5 record, and they look to be getting into the wild card. But again, these are two teams in a division that don't really like each other, and both of them are playing at a very high level offensively. So I think the Washington Commanders defense gets spanked today. That's my underperformer. How about you, Tyke? What are you thinking?
I would never have guessed that the Commanders were beating the Philadelphia Eagles in their all-time matchups. That's a great stat line. I've got 2 underperformers that I'm looking at here. Again, I have 2 players that met the same criteria for me, so I'm grouping them together here. Going back to the well with Cooper Kupp underperforming. Cooper Kupp has a minus 11.5 coverage grade, which in short basically means he doesn't get a lot of looks versus the coverages he's going to face today. He's playing the Jets. The Jets run man coverage at about 37% of all plays. Cooper Kupp does not get a lot of targets versus man coverage. Especially this year. I'm not saying historically, but this year he is not. Jets are going to be running cover 2, which Cooper Kupp is extremely good against. He's great against cover 2. That's his go-to bread and butter. Jets only run cover 2 3.8% of plays. So I'm not expecting him to see the coverage that he's typically getting fed the ball in very often today. He's been average against cover 3, but Jets are running that at about a 27% clip. And then Jets will be running cover 4 at 20%. Cooper Kupp does not get the ball versus cover 4. So I'm expecting him to underperform here. The other player I have is Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin has a minus 9 coverage grade. A little bit better than Cooper Kupp. Terry McLaurin, whenever I hear that name, I just think of him as running past the defense, man coverage, can't stop him. He actually has a very poor yards per route ran versus man coverage. He's less than 1.8 yards per route ran when facing man coverage. Kind of blew my mind. I thought Terry McLaurin was really kind of a man coverage type beating receiver, but he's not really being utilized that way. And Philadelphia runs man coverage at 29% of all plays. They'll also see some cover 2 today. Again, McLaurin really doesn't get any targets in cover 2. He will get targets in cover 3, which he will see about 33% of the time. So there will be some volume and some opportunities coming his way, but I'm only seeing that about 1/3 of the plays, and he only gets targeted on those 1/3 of the plays, about 1/3 of those plays. So not expecting a ton from McLaurin. I love the player. Kind of hope I'm wrong. But data-wise, he is not positioned to have a great game. So those are all the picks I have for today. Mama Mia, did you have anything you wanted to close with? Do you have any more tidbits?
I'm just on edge because I'm in the playoffs for the first time in a long time in our league, and so yeah, I'm just a little bit nervous. Good luck to everyone who is in the playoffs, and hopefully, what we've said today helps.
All right, thank you everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe for our next video. Take care.